Revealed, the life-changing secret. My daughter whispered to her husband, an incredible transformation that will leave you in tears. The summer sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over the neatly trimmed lawns and pink-blooming petunias in their Ohio neighborhood. As Sarah hurried through the door after another long shift at the diner, she found Emma hunched over her textbooks, fingers tangled in her long hair. The room hummed with an energy that pulled at her heart. Today was unlike any other. There was a secret in the air, one that felt alive, vibrant, and tinged with both excitement and trepidation. "Mom!" Emma exclaimed, her eyes shining like stars. "You won't believe what I just talked about with Jake." Sarah's heart raced. Jake, the charming boy from the big house on the hill, was Emma's new boyfriend. The thought sent a jolt of anxiety through her. "What about him, sweetheart?" she asked cautiously, settling beside Emma on the couch. Emma leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "I told him he should do what he loves, not just what his family expects." The words tumbled out, thick with significance. They shared a bond that transcended their humble beginnings. Her daughter's resolve resonated powerfully in that moment. A flood of warmth washed over Sarah as she absorbed Emma's bravery. She had raised her alone with lessons of humility and resilience, and now, here was her daughter urging someone with everything to embrace authenticity. How could someone so young carry such depth? Sarah's chest tightened with a mix of pride and fear. "You know, that's a big step. But you've got to be careful, Emma," Sarah warned softly, trying to squash the avalanche of unease building inside her. Despite the warmth in the room, she could feel the chill of uncertainty creeping in. Was Emma straying too far from the values they upheld? Before they could delve deeper, Sarah glanced at the clock. "We should get ready for the community gathering. It's important to show up and support our friends," she said, her voice steady, anchoring the storm brewing within her. The gathering filled the park with laughter and chatter, couples mingling, kids running in circles. But as Sarah scanned the crowd, her gaze landed on Jake's family, populated with the privileged, out of touch with the struggles many faced daily. Her instinct, protective like a lioness for her cub, slipped into overdrive. Emma and Jake were inseparable, the budding romance crafted in a world of aspirations. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." A crackling tension surged through the evening air as Emma, standing up for her beliefs, challenged Jake's family when they confronted Sarah. The words screamed, "Your values are holding him back." The faces in the crowd shifted. Whispers twisted into a chaotic symphony of discontent and judgment. Sarah's heart raced, caught between defending their humble lifestyle and understanding Emma's yearning for freedom. Her mind reeled, searching for some clarity amidst the chaos. Was it wrong to want her daughter to remember where she came from? As Emma stood firm, embodying the hope of dreams untangled from wealth, Sarah caught a glimpse of something monumental. Could love and loyalty coexist in a world where ambition often overshadowed integrity? The air grew heavy with conflicting passions as she faced the reality of a choice that could either bind or break them. In that moment, as the murmurs and gasps surrounded them, a singular question hung in the air, weighing down Sarah's heart. Would Emma choose her family's struggles, or could she chase a brighter future intertwined with a boy from a world that seemed so far from their own? The tension pulsed like an electric current, crackling through the air as Emma's words hung in the collective silence. Faces turned, some curious, others judgmental. Time felt suspended as Sarah took a collective breath, heart pounding with an urgency she couldn't ignore. "Emma," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is not the place." "But Mom, don't you see?" Emma interrupted, fire lighting her eyes. "It's not just about us anymore. It's about Jake finding his own voice." Sarah saw the defiance harden within her daughter's gaze. That very same spirit she had adored now felt like a double-edged sword, sharp and uncertain. The gathering continued around them, a festive backdrop to their stifling confrontation. Children laughed and played, unaware of the whirlwind brewing. Yet here they stood, two generations battling not just for beliefs, but futures. Sarah felt the weight of expectations crushing her chest. Jake stood frozen on the sidelines, his expression a mixture of admiration for Emma and fear at the unraveling drama. She caught a glimpse of the tension in his brow and the way his parents shot looks towards one another, concern mixing with disdain. It was a battle neither could afford. Emma, sometimes standing up for what's right means choosing your battles wisely, Sarah implored, desperate for understanding. And what does that mean for me, Mom? To shrink myself so I fit into a box? To please people who have never known what it's like to struggle? The passion in Emma's voice echoed through the crowd, drawing more attention. Each sharp word dug deeper into Sarah's heart, a tug-of-war between nurturing her daughter's independence and fear of losing her. We've worked hard to build this life, Sarah argued, the protective instinct flooding her words. I just want you to remember where you come from. It shapes who we are. Emma's shoulders fell and with them, a flicker of doubt crossed her face. And what if I want to shape my own path? Shouldn't I have that right? The resolve in her words was a challenge, and though it made Sarah's heart ache, she also felt an undeniable pride. The air shifted again, becoming thick with unspoken words. A few clusters of neighbors had taken notice, their sidelong glances growing more pronounced. Sarah could feel the stares, the whispers. They existed in a world where status and struggle walked parallel paths, seldom colliding. Maybe Sarah hesitated, grappling with the truth of those words. Maybe it's not about forgetting or denying where we came from, but mixing it with aspiration. Understanding both sides? In that moment, a flicker of hope sparked between them. Emma's defiance softened, and her voice dropped to a gentle plea. I want to be free, Mom. I want Jake to be free. Promises of a perfect future shouldn't come with conditions. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, the lines of worry etched deeper. She took a step closer, bridging the chasm that had opened between their dreams. I love you, Emma. No matter what. Just promise you'll be careful. This world can be harsh. Emma nodded, her expression a mixture of determination and fear, ready to embrace the complexities of love, family, and ambition. Yet, a bittersweet thought brushed against Sarah's resolve. Could they break those chains and still find their way back to each other? Suddenly, the laughter from the park felt alien, a dissonance against the shifting dynamics of their bond. Would embracing the unknown strengthen their family, or fracture the very foundation they had built on sacrifice and love? As the final rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, a new anxiety began to settle. Before Sarah could voice her worries, a voice cut through the murmur of the crowd. I think we need to all sit down together and talk about this. It was Jake, his tone tentative but firm, an unexpected anchor amidst the storm. Sarah's heart raced as she met Emma's gaze, realizing the pivotal moment that lay before them. Would they be willing to confront the uncertainties together, or would this be the moment that set off a chain reaction neither of them could control? The air thickened, charged with the weight of Jake's words. Sarah could see Emma's expression harden again, an unsettling blend of uncertainty and fury flickering in her eyes. What do you mean, Jake? Emma asked, her voice taut. This isn't a conversation to take lightly. I know, Jake replied, his hands trembling slightly, yet his voice remained steady. But we're already in deep, and pretending everything's fine won't change that. We need to talk. A few bystanders had drifted closer, clearly interested. Sarah could feel her cheeks flush with embarrassment. This wasn't how family gatherings were supposed to unfold. She was supposed to be discussing cupcakes and school projects, not facing a public battle over her daughter's choices. Maybe the three of us should step away from. Sarah hesitated, searching for the right words. This crowd? Just for a minute? In her mind, she envisioned a calm discussion. A chance to address what lay beneath the surface before it spiraled further out of control. No, Mom. Emma's voice was resolute. If we brush this aside now, it will only come back tenfold later. Isn't that what you were saying? A flash of frustration crossed her face, her defiance seeming to blossom in response to the rising tide of scrutiny from their neighbors. Sarah's heart sank. Here was their daughter, fighting not just for herself, but for something much larger, with Jake caught between them like a rope in a tug-of-war. She wasn't ready for this. I just want us to be okay, was all she could muster. With a gentle smile, Jake took Emma's hand. Let us just be honest, okay? All of us. Emma nodded, but Sarah noticed her jaw was tight, her fingers gripping Jake's as if he were a lifeline. All right, let us go, Sarah said finally, stepping back toward the park's far edge. Away from the laughter, away from the prying eyes. They found a secluded bench under a sprawling oak tree, its leaves rustling softly in the cool breeze. The noise of the gathering dulled to a distant hum as they took their seats, the familiar scent of fresh grass mixed with the faint tang of cotton candy hanging in the air. Now what? Emma asked, crossing her arms defensively. What's this conversation supposed to change? Start with what you both see as the problems, Sarah suggested, attempting to soften her tone. Well, what needs to change? Jake glanced at Emma and took a deep breath. Emma, I know you want to speak up, but it might help to explain your perspective to your mom. She cares more than you realize. Emma's shoulders relaxed somewhat, a gesture Sarah took as a small win. Okay, but you both need to understand something. I've been watching people endlessly struggle while the people in power look the other way. It's suffocating, Jake. I want to fight back not just for me, but for everyone. If we all just stay silent, nothing will change. Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach. But speaking out means risking everything, Emma. Your future, Jake's future. Isn't that what we're meant to do? Fight for our future? Emma countered, her voice tinged with a mix of passion and fear. Jake's grip squeezed Emma's hand tighter. And what if it goes too far? What if you lose someone through this struggle? I've seen it happen. It can tear families apart. Silence fell over them, heavy and oppressive as the truth lingered in the air. The shadows from the tree loomed large, echoing their feelings of uncertainty. Let us not forget, Sarah added, her voice softening, that change isn't just about the fight. It's about building a bridge too. Emma's expression shifted, registering a flicker of doubt. It was a small step, but it was something. So I have to balance my passion with caution? Exactly, Jake chimed in, his voice steady. We can advocate for change while still caring for each other. A tear slid down Sarah's cheek, and she wiped it away hastily, feeling the weight of realization. They were on the brink of something profound, yet there was a caveat. A vision of their family fractured played in her mind, a reminder of what prevented them from being whole. Emma's smoldering passion contrasted sharply against her need for acceptance. Do you think we can figure this out together? Emma asked, hesitant yet hopeful. I want to believe we can, Jake replied, looking intently at both women. But as they sat there, a new worry bubbled within Sarah. Would the love and understanding they were trying to cultivate be strong enough to weather the storm that was brewing just off the horizon? As the sun dipped ever lower, casting a golden hue over the park, the question lingered, a question that felt like it carried the weight of the world. What sacrifices would they have to make to ensure that the foundations of their family remained intact amidst the chaos of change? The silence stretched, thick and charged, as they each absorbed the enormity of what lay before them. Emma leaned forward, her brow furrowing. What if we don't find a way forward? What if we end up more lost than before? Her voice cracked, vulnerability dripping from her words like dew from a morning leaf. Jake shifted closer, as if to shield her from her own fears. We can't let that happen. We just need to keep talking, he reassured, his own uncertainty hidden underneath layers of resolve. Sarah's heart swelled at this moment. She had always admired Emma's fire, but seeing it tempered with doubt brought tears back to her eyes. "I'm scared too, Emma. The world feels so heavy, and I just want to protect you," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "But Mom," Emma protested, her spirit ignited once more, "protecting me can't mean silence. We can't ignore what's happening out there in our communities, in our schools." She gestured wildly, her passion flaring again. "If we stop talking about it, we're allowing it to continue." The three of them sat, wrapped in the soothing rustle of leaves, while the laughter from the fairground seemed a world away. Each breath felt like an expensive gift, precious and fragile. Sarah watched her daughter, shifting through a kaleidoscope of emotions. There was clarity amidst the chaos, there was a profound yearning to connect and to be understood. "Emma, when I was your age, I was scared too," Sarah said softly, recalling the insecurities that had clouded her teenage years. "I remember wanting to scream and shout, but felt like I'd drown in it all. Sometimes, the easiest path seems to be just staying quiet." Emma shook her head vigorously, her dark curls dancing in the breeze. "But quiet doesn't solve problems. It lets them fester. What if I stay quiet today and tomorrow, and then it's too late?" Jake interjected, his brow furrowed. "You shouldn't have to bear this weight alone, Emma. We're here. You have our support." The words sank deep into the earth of Sarah's heart, like roots finding nourishment in the soil. She felt herself remembering the importance of standing together, of confronting challenges as a unit. But the doubt flickered anew. Could their bond withstand the trials that lay ahead? "Tell us what you need," Sarah urged, her tone firm yet gentle. "What can we do to support you?" Emma hesitated, her eyes glistening with the trapped light of uncertainty. "I need you both to understand that this fight is not just mine," she confessed, her voice low but intense. "This is our fight as a family. It affects us all. We need to learn together and be brave together." As the last rays of the sun slipped below the horizon, the coolness of dusk settled around them. It felt like a protective blanket, urging them to stir, to awaken their inner strength. Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself for the road ahead. "Then let us start small. Let us explore what it means to be allies in this." "Yeah," Jake agreed, his voice now filled with newfound steel. "Let us learn what's out there, what we can do and how we can support those who've been silenced for so long." Emma's face brightened, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. Step by step, they could turn the chaos into change. "So we agree?" "Together," Sarah emphasized, her heart warming at the sight of the spark reigniting in her daughter's eyes. Just then, a soft breeze swept through the leaves, almost as if the universe had offered a silent nod of approval. But amid this blossoming determination, a thought crept into Sarah's mind. How would the outside world respond to their unity? Would they find allies or confrontations? As the shadows lengthened and danced around them, a heaviness settled back in. Mom Emma's voice broke into Sarah's thoughts. "Are we truly ready for this? Are we ready to face whatever comes next?" And somewhere in the shadows, a lingering fear loomed. What obstacles awaited them on this path of awakening? The answer felt unfathomably close, yet so distant, leaving them poised on the edge of an unknown horizon. As the last echoes of the fairground laughter faded into the evening air, a deeper silence settled around them. It pressed in, requiring an answer, a commitment. Sarah looked at Emma, whose eyes shimmered like stars caught in a moment of vulnerability. This was a pivotal moment, and she felt its weight. "Let us make a plan," Sarah proposed, her voice steady yet gentle. "How about we start by knowing the issues?" "Yes," Emma replied, her excitement palpable. "We can read articles, watch documentaries, maybe even attend some local meetings." Jake's brows knitted together. "And talk to our friends too," he added. "Share our thoughts. Get them involved. The more we educate ourselves, the stronger we'll be." each suggestion wrapped around them like a thread, weaving their collective resolve tighter. Sarah felt her heart race with a blend of pride and fear. This was not just about learning, it was about diving into the depths of a tumultuous sea that had swept so many away. But what do we do when we face resistance? Emma asked, her enthusiasm wavering for a fleeting moment. What if people don't want to listen? Then we have to be louder, Jake said fiercely. Our voices need to rise above the noise. Sometimes, standing out is part of the fight. Sarah sighed, the weight from earlier pressing down again. The world outside their bubble was fraught with division, emotions ran hot and resistance was almost a certainty. It won't be easy, though. There will be pushback. People may not want to hear what we have to say. Emma's expression changed, determination seeping back into her eyes. But that means it's more important for us to speak. If we let fear silence us, nothing will ever change. Silence wants us to retreat, to stay put. We need to fight against that. The sun continued to dip further, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, mirroring the fire igniting within their small circle. It was a tenuous but powerful time. Okay, let us make a vow, Sarah suggested, her voice gathering momentum. No matter how hard it gets, we support each other. We embrace honesty, even when it hurts. We promise to stand together through whatever storms come our way. Together, they echoed, each of their voices cracking with emotion, though resolute in their commitment. As the air cooled, the shadows morphed into indistinct shapes that danced across the ground. Sarah felt a swell of hope. They might stumble, fall, and struggle, but they would be united. The promise clung to the air around them, fresh like early morning dew. Yet, as her heart swelled with this new commitment, an unsettling thought crept in, could their bond truly endure the trials ahead? What if they faced opposition not only from the outside but also from within, from doubts that could undermine their every step? Just then, a sudden rustling echoed through the trees, drawing their attention. All three turned in unison, hearts pounding, as a figure emerged from the shadows. "Who's there?" Jake called, his voice firm but edged with apprehension. They waited, breath held, on the edge of their newfound courage. Was this a chance encounter or a sign of something more ominous? In the depths of uncertainty, Sarah realized they hadn't fully prepared for the challenges ahead. And as the figure stepped forward, she felt the mounting tension rise, ready to reveal secrets that could either bind them closer or rip them apart. What awaited them in the darkness? The figure stepped into the light cast by the fading sun, revealing an older man with silvery hair and deep-set eyes. He wore a worn jacket, its fabric frayed and faded as if it had been a companion through many storms. The moment felt surreal, like a scene pulled from a movie where everything hinged on the stranger's next words. "Who are you?" Emma asked softly, her voice trembling. There was an innocence to her tone, as if she wasn't ready to grapple with whatever the man might bring. "I'm here to help you," he said, his voice gravelly but steady. "I've been watching you three. You're planning something big." Sarah's chest tightened. Was he friend or foe? She exchanged glances with Jake and Emma, gauging their reactions. Jake seemed more skeptical, taking a cautious step forward. "Help us with what? Who told you about our plans?" "I've seen the way you talk," he said, ignoring Jake's challenge. "How you want to make a difference. But there are things you don't know, things that could put you in danger if you're not careful." His words sunk in like stones in still water, creating ripples of unease. What kind of danger? From whom? Or was this man simply a harbinger of fear, trying to stifle their aspirations? "Are you saying we shouldn't do this?" Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach. "No," he shook his head. "You should do this. But you need to understand what you're really up against. There are forces that would rather keep you quiet." He paused, his eyes scanning the trees behind them. "And if you're not prepared, you might regret stepping out into that world." Sarah felt a chill run through her. She had anticipated pushback, yes, but now the stakes felt horrifyingly tangible. Voices grew louder in her mind. What if they were really stepping into something they didn't understand? Was it worth it? What do you mean by forces? Jake asked, his curiosity piqued, yet his concern evident. People who thrive on division, who don't want to see unity among the youth, the man replied earnestly. They thrive on fear. Use it to control people like pawns on a chessboard. They won't hesitate to silence you if they feel threatened. Why should we trust you? Emma asked, her voice gaining strength. The determination was blooming again, but the uncertainty was pulling at her. Because I've been there, he said, his gaze hardening. I fought hard for change long ago, and I've seen what happens when people remain in silence. He hesitated, emotion flickering briefly across his face. Too many lost their way. I don't want that to happen again. A knot in Sarah's throat tightened. This man seemed a ghost of what could be a chilling reminder of the cost of ambition. It felt surreal in the twilight, like the world around her was blurred, save for this moment. What do you want from us? Jake's voice cut through, sharper than before. Just your willingness to listen, he said simply. Take my words as a warning. Empires of silence don't fall easily. Their whispers of hope suddenly tangled with shadows, the weight of the moment pressing deeper. They wanted to change the world, but at what cost? As the last hints of daylight vanished and night claimed the sky, Sarah felt an inner turmoil brewing. Would this encounter serve as encouragement or warning? In the distance, the faint sounds of laughter from the fairground faded, replaced by an unsettling silence that felt like anticipation. Could they really stand up to the shadows lurking beyond their circle? As they contemplated their next steps, Sarah's heart raced with both fear and excitement. Whatever they decided, the journey had just turned into a path veiled in uncertainty. Yet it was a path they needed to choose, and soon. Suddenly, the man turned, glancing back toward the woods. You must make your decision quickly. The longer you wait, the more entrenched the forces will become. He stepped back into the darkness, disappearing into the night, leaving behind a question hanging in the air. What would they decide when the light finally faded? Sarah stood at the precipice of uncertainty, her mind racing as she stared into the abyss where the stranger had vanished. The air felt charged, electric with the weight of his words and the fading sounds of joy from the fairground. A whisper of doubt clawed at her resolve. What if they weren't ready for this fight? Emma, her eyes wide, broke the heavy silence. What do you think he meant? About forces trying to keep us quiet? Jake rubbed the back of his neck, internally grappling with the implications. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. But what if it's true? We can't just ignore it. Sarah shifted her weight, her heart pounding. But we can't back down. If we don't take a stand now, when will we? She caught Emma's gaze, searching for solidarity. He raised valid points, Emma said slowly, clearly wrestling with her own fears. If it's dangerous, what if we get hurt? Or worse? The vulnerability in Emma's voice struck Sarah like a physical blow. They were all scared. But deep down, Sarah felt something ignite within her, a flicker of determination. I won't let fear hold us back. Not after everything we've talked about. We want change, right? And that comes with risks. Jake stepped forward, an array of emotions swirling in his eyes. But this isn't just about us anymore. If there are real powers out there, we need a strategy. We can't just charge in without knowing what we're up against. His words struck a chord. This wasn't just a mission, it was a call to arms. The resolve needed to transform hope into action was now a shared responsibility. What if we gather more information? Emma suggested, her confidence slowly returning. Maybe there are others who feel the same way. Yes. Sarah exclaimed, an idea blossoming in her mind. We could reach out on social media, find allies. Create a community. That's a great start, Jake admitted, a hint of a smile breaking through his previous worry. But we need to be smart. No one should know what we're planning until we have a solid foundation. As they spoke, the shadows of doubt started to lift. They were a team, leaning into their strengths, and it felt good to have the support of her friends. With every word, Sarah felt her courage swell, but the memory of the man's warning lingered like an echo. Those forces, they could already be watching us, Emma murmured, a hint of fear creeping back. Let them watch, Jake replied, more assertively this time. If they think they can silence us, they don't know who they're dealing with. As they made their plans, a flicker of hope ignited a sense of purpose within the group. They were about to take the plunge into an unknown world, one that could either uplift or destroy them. Then, without warning, the lights from the fairground dimmed further, and a hush fell across the area. It felt ominous, as though the world was holding its breath. Did you guys feel that? Sarah asked, tension creeping back into her voice. A rustle in the bushes nearby grabbed their attention, and all three turned in unison. Heartbeats quickened, breaths shallow. What was that? Emma whispered, her eyes wide. Whatever lingered in the shadows was about to reveal itself, and for better or worse, their journey was truly beginning. Do we stay or do we check it out? Jake proposed, his gaze steely yet uncertain. Sarah took a deep breath. We can't turn back now. Let us see what's out there. As they stepped cautiously toward the unknown, the tension wrapped around them like a thick fog, and with each moment, they held on to the fragile hope that they were not alone in this fight. What awaited them in the shadows could change everything or seal their fate. The rustle intensified, sending a chill down Sarah's spine. The night seemed to clutch them tighter, as if warning them to turn back. Yet, they remained rooted in place, eyes locked on the shadows that crept closer. Just stay quiet, Jake said, his voice a low whisper. They moved in a line, instincts kicking in as they navigated the uncertain terrain ahead. The bushes trembled again, and suddenly, a figure burst forth. It wasn't a creature or a threat but a person, a girl, maybe a year older than Sarah. Her wide eyes shone in the dim light, a hint of desperation flickering across her features. Please, you have to help me. She gasped, glancing over her shoulder as if something chased her. Who are you? Emma asked, stepping protectively in front of Sarah. I'm Clara, she replied breathlessly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I was at the fair. You have to listen to me. They're coming for me. Jake and Sarah shared a glance, uncertainty swirling in their minds. Sarah felt a surge of something, fear, empathy, maybe both. What's going on, Clara? Clara hesitated, chewing on her lip before speaking. They know what I saw. I overheard them talking about you three. About us? Sarah echoed, her heart racing. Who are they? They call themselves the Watchers. They don't want anyone to know what they're planning. It's bad. Really bad. Clara's voice trembled, and for a moment, Sarah glanced behind her, half expecting to see mysterious figures lurking in the shadows. Why us? Jake interrogated, a mixture of concern and anger creeping into his tone. Because you're trying to make a change. You want to expose the truth. Clara's eyes narrowed as she looked intensely at them. You've put a target on your backs. What truth? Emma urged, leaning in. What do you know? Clara's gaze darted back toward the bushes. I can't tell you here. We need to go somewhere safe. They'll be looking for me, and if they find you with me, her voice trailed off, and Sarah felt a cold wave of fear wash over her. We can't just leave her, Sarah said, her heart racing. Clara, we're in this together. We need to stand strong. But what if they're watching us? Emma chimed in, glancing around nervously. I don't care. Sarah shot back, surprising even herself. If there's something bigger at play, we need to face it. Together. Jake nodded, his expression serious but supportive. All right then. We'll help you, Clara. But we need to figure out a plan. We can't risk anyone getting hurt. Clara hesitated, measuring their resolve. You don't understand the danger. I shouldn't have come here. But you did, Sarah urged, her voice firm yet filled with compassion. You're not alone anymore. Just as the words spilled out, the sound of approaching footsteps broke the air like glass. The three friends turned, and panic clawed at their hearts. Run! Jake yelled, adrenaline kicking in as they sprinted deeper into the shadows, Clara following closely behind. Each footfall echoed the pounding of their hearts, fear propelling them forward. They ducked behind a nearby shed, breaths heavy. Sarah pressed her hand to her chest, fighting to slow her racing heartbeat. What now? She whispered, eyes darting around. This is just the beginning, Clara said, her eyes wide, clearly shaken but resolute. We need to learn more about the Watchers. But first, we need to get out of here. What if we can't? Emma's voice quivered, the weight of uncertainty clawing at all of them. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the burden of their mission weighing heavily. Then we fight. That's what we're here for, right? They exchanged glances, realizing they had crossed a point of no return. If they were going to make a change, they would have to embrace the fight ahead. But as they huddled together in the dark, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come and that they had only scratched the surface of an unsettling truth. What exactly had Clara seen that drew them into this perilous world? Jake peered around the shed, scanning the darkness like a hawk searching for prey. The air felt thick, almost suffocating, as if the night itself was alive, watching them with prying eyes. We need to keep moving, he said, urgency creeping into his voice. Clara nodded, a look of determination mingled with fear on her face. There's a place nearby a barn. It might be safe if we can reach it. Lead the way, Emma said, determination hardening her features. As they darted from the shed, Sarah felt adrenaline coursing through her veins, mingling with a potent mix of fear and hope. They slipped through the tangled underbrush, each step cautious as they tried to remain silent. Clara took the lead, glancing back every now and then, her anxiety palpable. Stay close, Clara instructed, her voice barely above a whisper. If they find us out here, it could be bad for all of us. Clara, what exactly did you overhear? Sarah pressed, her curiosity battling her fear. What are they planning? The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Clara hesitated for a moment, her brows furrowing as she considered how to respond. It's about the fair. They're using it as a cover. I saw them, the Watchers. I mean, they were doing something terrible. What do you mean? Jake interjected, stopping momentarily to catch his breath. They were talking about bringing something that would change everything. It didn't make sense at first, but now I think it's about control. Clara paused, her lips trembling. They want to silence anyone who gets in their way. And I think they're starting with you guys. Each word felt like a weight pressing down on Sarah. The reality of their situation was sinking in, and it was ugly. She glanced at Jake and Emma, fear manifesting in their expressions as if cloaked with a heavy shroud. Control how? Emma asked, desperation creeping into her tone. What do they want? I don't know. They didn't explain everything, but they mentioned something about using the fair to spread their influence. Clara's voice cracked, her fear spilling into each word. Influence? Like brainwashing? Jake exclaimed, his brow knitting in horror. More like manipulation, Clara replied, her eyes darting again toward the shadows, instinctively pulling the group closer together. They want to change people. Make them do what they want without them knowing. A heavy silence descended, weighing on them like the darkness around. It was unreal, too much to process. Sarah struggled to grasp the magnitude of what was at stake. They reached the barn, its silhouette looming in the night, worn and slightly ragged. Clara pushed open the creaky door, the sound echoing ominously as if the barn itself protested their entry. Inside, moonlight streamed through gaps in the wood, painting the floor with striking patterns. Is this safe? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper, the tension still taut. For now, I think so, Clara said, catching her breath. But we can't stay here long. They'll notice soon that I'm missing. As they settled into the dimness of the barn, Sarah felt a shiver run through her. This was bigger than any of them had anticipated. The Watchers were more than just a group, they were a looming threat that had already infiltrated their lives. How do we fight against something we don't understand? Emma murmured, bolstered by determination yet weighed down by uncertainty. We start small, Jake offered, his voice steady despite the fear written on his face. We gather information. Find others who might know what we're up against. Clara agreed, her fear replaced by a gleam of hope in her eyes. You're right. But we must be careful. They're always watching. Just as the last words faded, a strange noise erupted outside, followed by low voices. The faintest sound of footsteps drew closer, their intent unmistakable. Hide! Clara hissed, urgency igniting their panic as they scrambled behind old crates, hearts pounding with a mix of courage and dread. In the darkness, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. What if they were too late? What if they... Couldn't he fight it? As the voices grew louder, a new realization settled in, they were on the edge of something monumental. The stakes had never been higher. But in that moment, every question felt urgent, every possibility hung precariously in the air, waiting to be revealed. What exactly were the Watchers planning, and how deeply had their roots dug into the fabric of their lives? A weighty silence hung in the barn as they pressed against the crates, desperately listening. Sarah's mind raced with all the possibilities, the danger they faced, the potential for betrayal, and the sheer urgency of the moment. In the darkness, she could feel every heartbeat echoing like a drum, the tension palpable. Stay quiet, Jake whispered, his voice a firm anchor. The low voices outside grew clearer, punctuating the silence with ominous snippets that sent chills down their spines. We can't let anyone know about the shipment, growled one voice, deep and menacing. The plan is in motion. Those three, they have no idea what they're up against. What if they do find out? Another voice replied, laced with uncertainty. We have to eliminate the threats before they spread awareness. Those words sent frost through Sarah's veins. They were already a target, and the risk felt greater than ever. Clara's hand found Sarah's, squeezing tightly. We need to figure out a way to outsmart them, Clara urged, eyes wide with fear and determination. But first, we must get more time to strategize. Will they come in here? Emma's voice was hushed, her worry palpable. I don't think they know we're here, Jake said, still scanning their surroundings. But if they find Clara missing? Sarah felt a swell of compassion for the girl. Clara had already been through so much, and now, her life was intertwined with theirs. We'll protect you, Clara, Sarah promised, finding her own courage within the storm of fear. Suddenly, footsteps echoed inside the barn, followed by hushed whispers. The door creaked, swinging slightly. Sarah's heart raced, they were exposed. Everyone, back. Jake hissed, his arm flying out to shield Emma and Clara. They shuffled further into the darkness, every sense heightened. The door swung wide, revealing two shadowy figures silhouetted against the dull glow of moonlight. Look for clues, one of the figures commanded. They couldn't have gone far. As their flashlight beams darted across the barn, Sarah felt her pulse quicken. Think. She urged quietly. They needed a diversion, something to throw them off course. Emma, always the quick thinker, pointed toward the old hay bales stacked in the corner. We could create a distraction with those. Jake nodded. Get ready. On my count 3, 2, 1. With a flurry of movement, Jake and Emma pushed the bales, sending them tumbling loudly to the ground. The noise echoed and bounced off the walls, causing the shadowy figures to jerk their attention away. Hey! What was that? One of the figures shouted, their beams of light trailing after the sound. That way. the other shouted, charging toward the disturbance as the figures rushed out of the barn. As their footsteps faded into the night, Sarah felt relief flood over her like a balm. "Now, let us get out of here," she urged, and they sprinted towards the back door of the barn, instinct guiding them through the shadows as the adrenaline pulsed through their veins. They slipped into the cover of night, hearts pounding, each breath heavy with the weight of their escape. But there was no time to rest. Clara directed them towards an old storage shed at the edge of the field. "This way. We can regroup and figure out our next steps." Once inside, they shut the door quietly and huddled together, breathless and wide-eyed. The reality of the danger wrapped around them like thick fog. "We can't keep running forever," Clara began, her voice tinged with urgency. "We need a plan to expose the Watchers. We need more allies, and we need to figure out how deep their influence really goes." "Agreed," Jake nodded, his eyes scanning the dim space. "But first, we need to lay low for a while and gather intel. We can start by seeing if anyone else has noticed suspicious behavior around the fair." Emma took a deep breath, her determination reigniting. "We should split up and gather information. I can talk to friends at school, maybe they know something or have heard whispers. You two can check around town, maybe talk to vendors who were at the fair. We'll regroup later tonight. Let's synchronize our plans," Sarah added, feeling the weight of her responsibility as the mother and as a part of this new alliance. "Technology is our friend. We can create a secure group chat to stay in sync without drawing attention." As they crafted their plan, Sarah felt a sense of unified purpose settling in. They were no longer alone. Together, they would take on the Watchers, whatever that entailed. And as they spoke, the urgency of their mission pulsed within them, a river of hope flowing against the current of fear. They could be the change. With newfound resolve, they cautiously made their way to the exit, feeling the weight of the night behind them but determined to face the reality ahead. As they stepped out into the moonlit night, the path loomed vast in front of them. Sarah exchanged a knowing glance with Emma, whose eyes shone with determination. The horizon felt endless, like a canvas where they could paint their own destinies. Almost imperceptibly, a realization settled within Sarah: this fight wasn't just about ambition or justice, it was about family, unity, and the power of love and truth that they would carry together. "Together, we can rewrite our story," Sarah whispered to the stars above, feeling a swelling pride in her heart. As they plunged into the new darkness, ready to confront whatever lay ahead, a promise silently hung in the air: they would rise, together, against the chaos that sought to drown their voices. And as they stepped deeper into the night, they began to understand that every spark of courage ignited a flame of hope. Now, with each beating heart, they were lit aflame with a powerful truth: they had each other, and together, they would forge a future that the shadows could never extinguish. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it really helps. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of acting now.